wheel play is not something that we traditionally do, but as soon as we got in that situation, me, Mook, and Tommy immediately started talking about, hey, we got to try something different here. We can't just play standard bump play. And when Doc came out, made the pitching change, we talked to him about it, and he was all on board. And I'm going to credit Mook. It was his idea. We got to go. He's saying we got to go wheel play. We got to go wheel play. And so we talked about how we were going to do it, and we got executed it to perfection.
It's just another learned behavior. I got to give that credit to Miggy Rojas. I think we did it earlier in the year in Anaheim. And I remember asking him, when's a good time to do it? He said, in a do-or-die situation. And he's really been, him and Woody have really helped me a lot, just learning situations. I had never been in that situation in a game like this, so I just trusted it and made a decision, and it worked.
If we run the wheel play, that means there's going to be no one at second base. So that's when I chimed in. I said, if he bumps to third base, Max, you throw to Mookie. Tommy's going to first. I'll sprint to second base if it's not coming to me. That's why you saw me running to second. So we were just coming up with a plan on the wheel play to make sure we still had every base covered so he couldn't go home to second. And obviously they pulled it off perfectly.
It was pulled off perfectly in the wheel play, as Mookie Betts even said. Max Muncy said it's not something we see a whole lot of. The Dodgers did execute one against the Angels a couple of months ago, and maybe the pitching change also gave them a chance, Nomar, to talk about what they wanted to do to make sure everyone was on the same page. But that play alone could be the biggest reason why the Dodgers came home up 2-0 as opposed to 1-1.
It was definitely a critical play, and as they're touching on it, it was executed to perfection, just all around. And great job, Mookie Betts, staying in on that, the athleticism. But it's also just not only understanding the situation, but it's also understanding those who are on base, everything that surrounded it. And it was important. And it's funny because here we are in this new age where we don't ever see a bunt, and yet here a bunt being a critical play defensively, and also we can see how bunts are also critical. It's also bunts were critical last year in the postseason run for the Dodgers too. 90 feet matters. They recognize it. So bunts are critical, and they're still an important part of this game, and especially when you're in the postseason.
You know what's amazing? Everybody in on that play did everything right. Even Stott did everything right. You're taught when that shortstop breaks early, then you pull the bat back. But the key to that is Mookie Betts broke late. So Stott did not see Mookie Betts break. So then, okay, I'm going to lay down the bunt, not to the first base side. I'm going to make the third baseman field it, which he did. Stott laid down really a perfect bunt. Look, he dents the ball right there, but Max Muncy is crashing hard. And because of Mookie Betts breaking late, he doesn't slash there, and Mookie beats Nick Castellanos to the back and applies the tag. You see Freddie Freeman hustling over there to second base, and that staff there in Philadelphia, that was the same staff I had with the New York Yankees in 2009. You're taught when you see that shortstop break, then you can pull the bat back, but Stott never had the opportunity to pull the bat back because Mookie Betts broke extremely late. Stott did his job, but the Dodgers were ready for it, and they executed that play to perfection. That's why it's so cool, man. Yeah. Baseball is the best sport because those little things, man, can mean everything, and the Dodgers executed it.
They're so much fun to watch when you see them executed to perfection like the Dodgers did that night. Of course, Roki Sasaki got the final out, got the save in Game 2, but we were talking at length in the post-game show after Game 2 about Roki Sasaki not getting the ball to start the ninth inning that night, and Roki was still a hot topic of conversation at yesterday's workout here at Dodger Stadium, as well as the media session. As we head inside the stadium for the first time, check in with Kirsten Watson. She has more on Roki being a subject of a lot of conversation there yesterday. Hi there, Kirsten.
Hi, John. Yeah, he absolutely is. The good news that he is available. Even when we spoke to him after the game on Monday, after getting that second save, of course, of the postseason, second of his big league career, he talked about just how he's been able to be in a position in which he feels comfortable if he were to go back-to-back if that situation does arise. But as you guys have talked about at length, this wheel play, the conversation, it continued on. Dave Roberts and others talked about that today as well as yesterday at practice.
He's definitely the primary option now. I think that, there's a build-up. There's also a component that, we have to win X amount of more games, and he's not going to close every game. It's just not feasible. So you've got to use other guys. And so, but I think that to the question, yeah, if it makes sense, he'll definitely be finishing games.
Especially considering he's only pitched 5 times for you guys since coming back. Like, what is that balance, especially with his workload and figuring out how much you can push him versus trying to still, you know?
That's right, Jack. It's a balance. This is something he's never done, and you're expecting to go a few more weeks, and so all that stuff has to play in that a lot of people just don't have any appreciation for.
Obviously, we've had to rely a lot on non-traditional relievers for piece games together. How difficult is that balance versus, obviously, you want to win these games, but also try to keep other guys going, get other guys going that you're going to have to rely on over the course.
That's right. That's everything. You know, if there is a world where you can use 5 pitchers and finish a postseason and win the postseason, I think a lot of people would sign up for that, but that's impossible. So you've got to use your roster at certain times and kind of pick spots where you feel best and live with whatever outcome. But, you know, that's just the way it goes in to win for us this year, 13 games in October, but very well-framed question. And, you know, but yeah, the more you see guys and give guys opportunities, you see how they respond, and it certainly helps my decision-making going forward.
Since Roki Sasaki returned to the big league team at the end of the regular season, Dave Roberts and others made it very clear that he just looked like a totally different pitcher. He, of course, how he closed out the regular season. He had 2 outings in which he was able to come in and relief in pretty high leverage situations. So that was ultimately checkbox number 1. Then you go into the postseason, has a really solid outing here at Dodger Stadium, closing out the wild card. Then you move on to the NLDS, playing in a big moment in Philadelphia, finding success. Each moment he's had has been another way to check off something on his checklist. So he feels really comfortable coming out of the bullpen right now. Of course, he had to get ready pretty quickly in Philadelphia, but how he was able to bounce back was in a really good spot. So for him, he comes into this one. He feels comfortable, as I mentioned earlier, being in a back-to-back situation. So for right now, Dave Roberts did say that Roki Sasaki is very much available out of the bullpen tonight. So is Emmett Sheehan, but we likely will see him staying away from the other starters, with Tyler Glasnow, who would be scheduled to take down Game 4, or someone like Blake Snell, or even Shohei Ohtani. We won't be seeing those 2 guys out of the bullpen either, guys.
All right, well, hopefully Yoshinobu Yamamoto can give them a great deal of length in Game 3 tonight. Kirsten, thank you very much. And Jerry, you said it after Game 1 that Roki Sasaki was the Dodgers closer, full stop. Obviously, we saw what happened. He didn't get the ball to start the 9th inning. Now that we've heard from Dave Roberts before today's game, do you feel more confident that Roki will be the guy if the Dodgers have that lead in the 9th?
Really, to be fair to you, John, I said Roki Sasaki was the closer before the playoffs even started. I mean, the eye test is a huge thing. We know what Roki Sasaki brings when he is right. He's made changes, critical changes to his delivery. He's more on his backside. But more importantly, because of that, he's extremely confident, and he's that dude. We all know it. His teammates know it. Major League Baseball know it. The Reds knew it then. The Phillies know it now. And listen, I know the primary option. Listen, when the Lakers were rolling back in the day with Shaq and Kobe, Shaq was an option. Rick Fox was an option at times. Derek Fisher. But we all knew who the closer was. It was Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant needed the ball in his hands to close out games, and Roki Sasaki, because he is that dude in the 9th inning, he's the closer.
I agree. We said that. We said that after Game 1. We were shocked that he wasn't in there earlier after Game 2. And we say from here on out, yes, he's the closer. And doesn't mean he's always going to be successful. No, but what you have right now, what we've seen down the stretch, the way the bullpen has been taxed all season long, you know, he's fresh. And that's what you go with, regardless. This is, you have to worry about, okay, from the starters, bridging the gap to your 9th inning guy who's Roki. Now you actually just have the plan and you run with it. May work, it may not, but that's the plan, and that just has to be understood. Other teams know it, and they should all know that too. And I think it'll also help the other guys in the bullpen that you go to when it's a different mindset. Okay, we just have the 9th inning. We have the closer now. It is Roki. That is great. We need to be better when we're called upon, if we are called upon, and get things done.
Before I get tons of tweets, I'm not comparing Roki Sasaki to Kobe Bryant. Okay, I'm not saying that. But we all know back in the day, we all felt comfortable when Kobe Bryant had the ball in his hands late in the 4th quarter. Right now, who do we feel confident confident and comfortable with the ball in his hands in the ninth inning. It's Roki Sasaki.
And you have to feel even more confident based on what he just did in Philadelphia, one of the toughest places to go into pitch, and the young kid handled it like a true star.
And the best part about it, when they asked him about all that pressure and all the noise, and they were saying, the fans, he goes, I don't understand any English, so I just went out and pitched. That was the perfect response.
All right, much more to come here from Dodger Stadium. Life is good for the skipper with a win tonight. Dave Roberts' club would make it to the NLCS for the 7th time in his 10 seasons at the helm. It's Game 3 coming up from Dodger Stadium at the top of the hour. Plus, Will Smith returns to the starting lineup for the first time since September 9th. We'll take our first look at who's in and who's out for Game 3 and discuss the depth of that Dodgers lineup 1 through 9. Inside the stadium, Kirsten Watson joins us live with more on Yoshi getting the ball tonight in Game 3. Hello, Kirsten.
Hi, John. Well, as of late, Yoshinobu Yamamoto has been getting the run support that he absolutely deserved. Didn't see it too much during the regular season, but as of late, it has been there. Dave Roberts, he talked about Yoshi, how he is the right guy to take the ball as they look to close out this NLDS tonight, and also what we could potentially be seeing from the bullpen behind him.
He's very confident. I think that he has a pitch mix that can kind of manage lefties, righties, enough velocity to handle this team. He does a great job of managing his emotions, as good as anyone I've been around. And so being able to, the opportunity to close it out, he's the right guy tonight.
I know we've asked you about the potential of using starters out of the pen, but when you look at these two games specifically, especially with how the schedule's lined up for Snell and Shohei, is that something you have on your mind as a possibility coming into these tonight and potentially tomorrow, or are you going to try to stay away from that?
I think as far as those two guys, I'm staying away from that. They're not a part of any kind of equation or math that I'm thinking through. But it is a game that, we're going to do everything we can to win, within reason, obviously. But I feel good with, obviously, Yamamoto. I feel good with the guys that, in a leverage game that I'm going to go to. Yeah.
During Game 2 of the wild card, Dave Roberts said very clearly that it was Yoshinobu Yamamoto's game. They come into this one with that same thought process, and his teammates are very much behind him. When it comes to clinching big moments, Yoshinobu has been that guy. Whether it was when they clinched the NL West, of course, Yoshinobu on the mound in Arizona, winning the wild card series, Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the mound, and it even goes back to last year in different situations in the postseason on that, of course, World Series run. So he is that guy. He has been the ace for this team, a consistent force in the rotation. So hopefully he can set the tone and the guy can give him some run support early in this one tonight, guys.
Sounds like a great recipe for a win tonight, Kirsten. Thank you very much. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, he was the National League's pitcher of the month for September. That role continued in the wild card series. Over his last 6 starts, Jerry, Yamamoto arguably has been the best pitcher in all of baseball, certainly throwing the baseball the best at any point of his young big league career. He's only allowed 3 earned runs in 40 2/3 innings.
Well, you know what's amazing? He throws any pitch at any time for a strike or a chase pitch. We talk about his fastball command. It's around 96 to 98 miles an hour. He'll spot that fastball up and down the zone. We talk about his devastating split that looks like a fastball and then darts out of the zone. It's a chase pitch. A lot of people don't talk about his curveball. His curveball has been outstanding. I really believe that's been a difference maker for him because as a hitter, you got to cover so many pitches.
The other thing that we've seen over this run of Yamamoto is he also makes adjustments on what's working for him. And then also maybe what the hitters are trying to do. He has all these devastating pitches that are also extremely effective in play at this level. But if one is not working or he realizes another one, like he'll go out there and he'll finish off guys with just a curveball and keep going that as his put-away pitch. We know he has a split finger, but it doesn't it's like, okay, maybe that curveball is working. We've seen him in some outings where it's been the curveball. The next outing, it's been more the split finger. Establishing the fastball, like with every pitcher, is an important, and if he has that, but he has other pitches that he goes to. He also has a slider that he'll put people away. He'll climb the ladder with the fastball. So he has some definite options, but I love the way he's been able to adapt based on what's working him that day.
Faced the Phillies one time this year, but it was 6 months ago he did not allow an earned run in that start in Philadelphia. Getting closer to first pitch here at Dodger Stadium takes a lot of folks behind the scenes to bring you these great shows on our award-winning network, just as it takes an entire crew at the stadium to make sure the field is in perfect condition.
A little bit more on Kyle Schwarber. Kyle the Schwarberian. 5 homers of 450 plus since StatCast and pitch tracking data began. I mean, and I don't know that I've seen one hit farther in. I mean, and I don't know that I've seen one hit farther in.
He's just worried about making his pitches, and it's just so much fun to, I know I don't play defense anymore, but I know it's fun to play defense behind those guys.
Maybe it's the powder blues. What do you think, Kyle?
Hey, we were excited to get an opportunity to wear them, and, we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So as we talk about Kyle Schwarber, note this list, 23 postseason home runs and making a run at the all-time mark in far fewer games than the guys that he's trying to run down on this distinguished list. And I don't want the Schwarber discussion at this point of the season to devolve into, is he going to stay in Philly or where's he going? Because he's still in the fight, right? Yeah. And he is every bit as important as Harper and Turner and any one of the starters. You could make the case that it kind of revolves around him this year.
He's the guy that with one swing will change the outcome of a game. And that's what he's done throughout his career in the postseason. But this is a guy that, I saw a different Schwarber today. The way he was taking swings, he was getting into hitters' counts like we're seeing right there. 2-0, and my goodness, what a ball. I mean, that ball was absolutely nuked. But for me, it was kind of the at-bats that they were taking the whole game. It started obviously with Trey Turner, but it led down to Harper and obviously Schwarber. And there was a little bit of anxiety. It was a little bit of that nervousness. Yeah. And when you're at the box and you're feeling that, good things usually are going to happen to you.
I will say this, though. You go back to Philadelphia, and look, Ohtani pitched him tough, man. That 3-2 breaking ball he threw him, that was like, he's probably looking around going, hold on, where was that? I was hitting a different pitch. And Blake Snell left on left. But then there was a couple other pitches, like Sheehan. He threw that fastball kind of middle in. That's a pitch that, Kyle Schwarber can handle. And you're starting to think to yourself, hang on, what's going on here? But then all of a sudden he comes out, Yamamoto, who was really good down the stretch, gets that fastball at the top of the strike zone, doesn't miss it.
Yeah, that was a weird kind of disappearing act that Yamamoto did in the 4th inning tonight because he had been so good. So the series continues. It'll go to a 4th game tomorrow. Dave Roberts after Game 3.
Just kind of limited them, not really able to get anything, string at bats together till late in the game.
I thought we had an early opportunity in that first situational, and then they, after 2 innings, they went to Ranger. Tommy leads off that, gets that first homer. And then after that, I just felt that we just couldn't put anything together versus Ranger. The cutter, the sinker, the changeup mix, and just obviously really didn't threaten in any capacity. And he threw the ball well tonight.
Next question. We go to Fabian on the right against the wall.
Yeah, Dave, obviously you guys have done a really good job pitching against Schwarber coming into this game in this series. What is sort of the danger of sort of allowing him to get hot, especially with the game last night?
Yeah, I mean, you make mistakes, you pitch behind. That's what's going to happen. You get 2-0, you try to go fastball away, gets to the big part of the plate, home run, and then, Clayton, I think, tried to go away and then missed middle or, middle up close to him, and it's another homer. So you got to make pitches against those guys. And, they start getting some results and they start feeling good. So, we got to make pitches and work ahead.
Okay, Bill, all the way in the back on the right.
Dave, is it still Tyler tomorrow?
Yeah, Glass will go tomorrow.
And given it's been a while since he started, what do you expect reasonably from him?
I think he's just full go. It was nice to get him in there in Philly. But as far as kind of his build-up, I think it's just a normal start, but we'll just kind of read and react and see how he's throwing the baseball.
Okay, next question. We're going to go Jack on the left.
Well, why do you think Shohei struggled at the plate so much this series, and is part of it just the number of lefties he's seeing and the kind of looks he's getting there?
I think the lefties is part of it, but I just think that his plate, his decision making hasn't been good. You can see, it's balls in off, and he's really not giving himself a chance to, hit a mistake. I just think that he's in between a little bit, but the swing decisions are just not where they need to be right now. That's kind of what I see, swing decision making.
And then you guys used a lot of the relievers tonight. Tanner Scott wasn't one of them. Is he an option for you right now?
No, Tanner was he was not at the ballpark today. There was something going on personal, so and it'll come out later. But he was completely unavailable.
Okay, anything else? Go right here, second row.
Dave, it was Clayton's first time out of the bullpen in the postseason since, I believe, 2019. What did you see out of him in this stuff?
Yeah, it was just, in the postseason. He just didn't have a great slider tonight. I think, Clayton pitched off his slider. And, so when the slider's not there, depthy, teethy, and then the fastball command he was working behind too. So, the command wasn't there tonight.
Okay. Carrie?
Dave, how much easier is it to flush this one when you have the knowledge of having Tyler on the mound tomorrow and what you have in reserve behind him?
Oh, it is. It's pretty close to being flushed already. I think if we could look back at this going in this series and said we were up 2-1, we'd have banked it with Glass going. So I feel good with where we're at. Would have loved to have gotten Duran in the game tonight, but I feel good with where we're at, and it's certainly flushed.
Okay.
Well, Dodgers will move on to Game 4. You heard Dave Roberts talk about it. Tyler Glass now to try to pitch him into the LCS. 8-2, the final score. Phillies used 2 big innings. There were a couple of Dodger miscues, uncharacteristic of that team. Hey, Philly only went 2 for 9 with runners in scoring position, but the hits were timely. Some of them left the ballpark, and the Phillies are right back in this series. We're going to take a break. When we come back, how the Blue Jays punched their ticket to the ALCS. Highlights from all 4 Division Series matchups on this Wednesday, coming up on a full hour of MLB Tonight.